Их на камеру не видать нифига. А вот сейчас видно.
Вон самолет мимо пролетает, вот эти фигнюшки прям треугольником ровно, смотрите.
Ага. Смотри.
Эй!
Нифига себе, смотри. Офигеть.
Сюда летите, заберите меня. Блин, интересно, что это.
What is that? Oh, look at that. It's not the sun, is it? It's something else up there. It can't be the sun, can it? The sun's low in the sky. Let's slow the camera. Let's zoom in. Right, look, there's at least 3, 4, 5. Look at that tree. Oh, that one I'm zooming in right, I can see roads of it, but just helicopter. What's that still? Look at the viewfinder. Now that is an aircraft, is it? If it's an aircraft, I don't know. Just stand there. That one looks like it's glowing. It's really hot. Fuck's sake.
Que ha sido captado en la ciudad de Huancayo. Ahí se puede ver un objeto extraño sobrevolando el cielo. Vean esto, nuestro televidente se llama a caracoles Hendrik Snider Solano de la Cruz, y él cuenta que apenas lo divisó, fue por su filmadora para poder grabarlo y enviárnoslo. ¿Qué parece? Pues, esto parece, puede ser también desde arriba, que están viendo del avión una... no desde abajo, ahí está el poste. Interesante, ¿eh? Henrik nos señala que no alcanzó a escuchar ningún sonido, por lo que estimó que no se trataría de ningún avión u objeto conocido. Bueno, investigarlo bien claramente qué cosa es. Pues a ver qué interesante, pues cuando ustedes envíen, a ver, ahí sigue la secuencia, eso es más o menos, y ahí se ve eso otra vez. Están pasando y a veces se ve que algo grande pasa por entre las nubes.
Around 5000 BC, we, Homo sapiens, were genetically modified by space aliens. These aliens first landed where the river Euphrates enters the Persian Gulf. The reason is that in that area a high concentration of what is called monatomic gold is found in the seawater, while nowadays the highest concentration is found on the islands of Hawaii. The aliens were members of the Anunnaki Empire and were on a quest to find this metal that is supposed to enhance and repair all bodily functions and stop the body from aging. Monatomic gold is what is called a superconductive metal. Superconductivity means that if you transport, for example, electricity through a line made of this material, you would not lose any energy as a result of heat dissipation. So if you input 100% of energy, you also output 100% of energy. Now apply this principle to your brain, which is a huge sensitive electrical machine. The monatomic gold makes your neural pathways act like quantum drive superhighways. This means that all your senses will receive input optimally. In turn, these inputs will be processed optimally, and those parts of your brain you don't use will become more active, so enhancing your memory, making you better understand problems, allowing you to sense evil, detecting lies, becoming telepathic, and even being able to time travel in your mind by seeing the past or the future. So the Anunnaki, which is the name of the empire which includes races like the Saurian, or as they are called the Reptoids, the Argarians or Nordics because of their human looks, and the Greys from Zeta Reticula, were looking for monatomic gold. This involved enormous effort because it had to be extracted from seawater, or by processing it in such a way that the gold, usually in pairs of 8 atoms per molecule, could be separated into individual particles. In this fashion, the monatomic elements were separated from the multi-atomic cousins. In a similar way, uranium-235 is produced. For the use as intelligent slaves, the Anunnaki took a man, let's call him Adamski, and took out a part of a rib. This is because the rib is a part of the human body that can be removed without causing too much damage, and because the rib contains bone marrow, it's a perfect source for DNA. The Anunnaki modified the DNA for a better manipulation of the humans and implanted it into a woman, let's call her Mulva. Mulva then had children with Adamski, and their children were, just like Mulva, genetically modified. These humans worked for the Anunnaki, but not a lot of humans knew about the Anunnaki, and then, for some reason, the Anunnaki disappeared. An interesting detail is that the symbol for human DNA resembles the word Yah, which is God, but surely this is a coincidence. Now, some humans received part of the knowledge of the Anunnaki. The last known humans were the Jewish people who carried the Ark on their journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. Before them, the Ark was in the lands of the Sumerians, Babylonians, and Tibetans. This Ark, not the Ark of Noah, was known to have powers beyond human imagination. It could levitate and deliver the fire of stars, a dangerous firework-like display of power that occurred when the monatomic elements became unstable. To make them stable again, you needed to know certain secrets, and with those secrets you could preserve the Ark and thus its powers. The humans who were close to the secrets of the Ark had long and prosperous lives. The best known was Methuselah, who lived to the age of 950. Wherever the Ark is, the culture thrives, and over the centuries it moved from Jerusalem to Rome to London, and is now supposed to be in the United States of America. The Ark always moves west, and will always keep moving west. From the very beginning, the people who own the Ark have never given it away, and great care is given to preserve the bloodline's purity of the holders of the Ark. Renowned conspiracy theorist David Icke studied the bloodline of George W. Bush. This he traced back all the way to the Sumerians, a people who lived in the southeastern part of what is now known as Iraq, where the river Euphrates meets the Persian Gulf.
Ебучий случай, блядь, НЛО какой-то нахуй. Блядь.
Para aí, Rafa, para aí, velho. Não dá pra ver, pera aí. Tá tremendo muito, cara. Para aí, Rafa, para aí. Caralho, velho. Caralho, velho. Puta, onde que tá agora, pô? Olha lá, olha lá. Véi do céu. Falei que eu tava vendo alguma coisa. Lá do teu lado, lá, pô. Nem 4 horas ainda, velho. Dá tempo de ir pra Lençóis e voltar pra Bauru ainda. Olha isso, velho. Olha isso. Outra puta, você não tem que ver onde o Zu vai buscar isso aqui, velho. Você não tá vendo nada aí, filho. Você tem que ver aqui na máquina. Ô, Rafa, tá virando, velho. Puta que pariu, velho. Ah, essa porra dessa bateria tá acabando, bicho. Caralho, velho, tá descendo, porra. Pera aí, para de ser medroso, caramba. Puta que pariu, bicho. Tá tremendo pra caralho, bicho. Deve ser, caralho, eu vou saber, pô. Essa porra.
Para, não vai falar assim, cara, não é. Tá atrás de pé, aí apareceu o pé. Nossa senhora, cara, que isso, cara? Não! Acho que é. Não é, velho. Para, não vai falar assim, cara, não é. Não você acha? Caralho.
Deborah Lee Thomas was watching the camera feed from behind a Gulf Shore Boulevard condo building just across the street from Venetian Village. She noticed strange lights swoop in over the pool.
And I realized that it was something that was not normal.
Here's what she saw. At first glance, it almost looks like a saucer-shaped object up top. Then it goes down into the pool and expands like a web, moving back and forth. After nearly 30 minutes, it starts to disappear. Thomas says bugs fly up to their cameras all the time, but this was further away, dipping in and out of the pool.
Was down on the ground, but some of that webbing was longer and had made a funnel down into the pool.
We sent the video off to MUFON, a UFO organization in Ohio. They're analyzing it, but they don't think it's a hoax. That's what Thomas's co-workers thought at first until they saw it themselves.
We watched it on the tape, and to be honest, I was so grateful that it was there so that I could say it was real, it really happened.
On Wednesday, residents were walking in and out of the complex's office, checking out the must-see video.
Oh, how cool. I've never seen anything like this. The electrical charges coming from it are just truly unbelievable.
But what it is remains a mystery for now. Something Thomas is okay with, as long as it doesn't happen again. Now, we did show the video to a biologist at the Conservancy of Southwest Florida to see whether or not they thought it was an animal. They don't believe it's an animal. Meanwhile, officials at MUFON tell me this is one of the most fascinating videos they've seen in a while. Coincidentally, this pool is closed for the next few days for some cleaning. I don't think residents are going to be complaining about that. We're live in Naples tonight. Rick Ritter.
Picked up a doily. It was just hanging there. She said it just kind of looked webby. And then it just turned into that little flash of light and kind of just left. Little, though. It wasn't, it never went back till I came in.
Right.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Oh. I got a 2-folder while I got, because I was going to give this to Kelly this weekend. Lynn's grandson's 5 dying of mitochondrial disease. Their family's losing everything trying to keep him alive. And I thought, you know what, it's been in the news, I'm going to give it to you guys. Give it to Kelly.
Hans Glaser was a journalist of sorts in 16th century Germany. He depicted a wondrous and perplexing event that occurred in the early morning hours of April 14, 1561, in the city of Nuremberg. His woodcut shows a sky full of strange objects, smoke arising from the ground where some objects seem to have crashed. It was accompanied by a description that speaks of rods and globular objects flying back and forth overhead, fighting vehemently. Immense smoke rose from the ground where the objects fell. Many of the objects were red, but there was also a round ball of partly dull, partly black ferrous color, and something like a black spear, very long and thick-sided. The shaft pointed to the east, the point pointed west. He said the scene was observed by many of the residents of Nuremberg. Glaser didn't know what to make of it, except to say it could be a sign from God. Even in medieval times, the skeptics left their mark on UFO accounts. Glaser wrote, although we have seen, shortly one after another, many kinds of signs on the heaven, which are sent to us by the Almighty God, to bring us to repentance, we still are, unfortunately, so ungrateful that we despise such high signs and miracles of God. Or we speak of them with ridicule and discard them to the wind, in order that God may send us a frightening punishment on account of our ungratefulness. Modern skeptics have explained the account as figurative instead of literal, or as describing a solar phenomenon, perhaps a sundog.
There is a secret that very few people know about. It lies beneath the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. Very few people know there is a hole in the floor which leads down into a secret chamber called the Well of Souls, with underground caves leading off in all directions.
It is almost a 3 billion year old metal balls that they have found. They have found a lot of these. What have they said on what they've discovered when they've looked at those?
Well, they really don't know. These things are just made out of an incredibly hard substance. They don't know where they came from. They're an absolute mystery, They found these things in mines in Africa. They've been coal mines and stuff like that. And these things, because of the distance down in the mines they found them, they've estimated them to be 3.8 billion years old. I think that's just, I don't know how they could possibly be that old, but that's what they say they are. Because
the one I'd like to talk about today is the one called the precession of the equinox. Essentially, what this is a rotation that the planet does, which completes a cycle once every 26,000 years. It looks like this and slowly turns on its axis and points to different locations. Science looks at this and says, well, so what? It's just a wobble. But by looking at what the ancient civilizations knew, you see a more complete image. The point actually points to and away from the center of the galaxy. The center of the galaxy is where most of the energy and the most consciousness is. It's not just light up there, you know. So, in this diagram is our rotation. Here is the tip pointing towards the center of the galaxy, and here is the farthest pointing away. The ancient Sanskrit writings that also talks about this precession call this going with the galactic wind. The Sanskrit writings say that there are two very important places on this wobble. One is at A, and one is at C. Not at the very tips as you might think. There are also important places at D and B, but not as important as A and C. According to these ancient writings, as we hit position A, we begin waking up. And as we hit position C, we begin to fall asleep. We continue on the cycle, but every time we make a full rotation, we wake up more and more. It works the exact same way as day and night on Earth. You go through this cycle every day, waking and sleeping. But every day you become a little more conscious. You learn new things, you don't do the same thing.
The entire cornerstone of the ancient Egyptian belief system was related to the heart, and everything was focused on preparing for a time when the divine light would return and their hearts would be weighed against this light. The weighing of the heart ceremony was not a ritual enacted because their biological container had expired. They knew the truth of their divinity and their true ethereal forms, and as such prepared their souls and their heart for this coming light, not their physical bodies or their physical heart, which were only symbolic. The physical heart, like the pineal gland, are physical extensions of energy points within our ethereal bodies. Our ethereal body is who we are first and foremost. It is the form in which we were first created, and as such, it is with the ethereal body that we feel changes in vibrations or resonance first. These changes are then relayed to certain physical parts of our body that relate to these energy points.
You can come from the left brain, take notes, and carefully see the logic in each step. Or you can come from the right brain, just let go and don't think, feel. Watch it like a movie, expanded, not contracted. Either way it will work. My advice is to try and see both angles if possible. It is through balance that spiritual health returns.
At the very least, within the priest classes of ancient Egypt, and within the mystery schools of today, such as Freemasonry, especially within the higher degrees, other dimensions are accessed. They were in ancient times, for sure, and they are today, and that is for sure. from a chalkboard that was at the entryway to an exhibition at the Sydney Masonic Centre, we can read, "Welcome. In the world of sacred symbols, they come from other dimensions. Always visible in the worldly life, since the farthest times. They represent the universal code to read reality beyond the appearance, the magic key to unlock the mystery of existence and the bridge of light to reach who you really are." Please note the top part among the whole thing, but so in the world of sacred symbols, they come from other dimensions, always visible in the worldly life. Okay.
I am looking here at Max, a really interesting photograph and drawing of a calculator that was embedded apparently in some crustacean or rock, and they x-rayed it. And there are gears throughout this rock. What do you think that was? Was that a watch of some sort?
Well, it's an astrolabe. It's an astrolabe. It's actually a celestial calendar. It's a navigational device used for tracking the stars and tracking ships. Much, much more complicated than any astrolabes that we have today. It's actually one of my favourite devices. That's the nThe device. And it's absolutely incredible. That was one of the first devices that got me into all of this sort of stuff. It was found about 100 years ago. And it's absolutely incredible. It's so old and it's so complicated. And the thing about it, it's obviously been made by a machine. It's very, very fine parts, and it's been machined. So that also indicates that there was a machine around to make this thing. This is at least 1,000 years ago, and we're talking very, very complex lathes and all sorts of things that you need to create this device, because it's very machined. And it's absolutely amazing device. One of my favourite.
Yes, mine too.
Earth's interior is not observable. previous geological models have been found to be false through observations and actual data. During a secret Soviet program called the Kola Ultra-Deep, drilling into the Earth's crust began in 1970 at the Kola Peninsula. After years of drilling, by 1983, the Soviets managed to drill 12 kilometers deep. But once they reached the 12-kilometer mark, they got stuck. For the next 10 years, they were able to drill only 0.262 additional kilometers into the Earth's crust. They could not get past the 12-kilometer mark. The drilling program suffered accidents and technical setbacks that prevented them from ever reaching their goal. The Kola Ultra-Deep program had originally planned to drill 15 kilometers deep, but they quit when they reached 12 kilometers. The drilling program made some scientific discoveries that disproved previous geological models of the Earth's interior. Previously, we were told that the deeper you go into the Earth's crust, the more dense the rock would be and the less porous the rock would be. If the rock is less porous, it means there's less holes in it, less places for water to go. In reality, they found that many kilometers deep, the rocks were cracked and riddled with numerous pores, with water solutions moving freely through the rock. At Kola, they found water all the way down to 12 kilometers, which is the deepest they were able to drill. That supports the claim made in the Holy Bible that there was once a great flood with water covering the entire earth. Some of that water receded enough to expose some land, the land that we live on today. Although a majority of the earth is still covered with water today, some of the flood water might now be underground. Kola confirmed they found water deep underground, so maybe that's where some of the flood water went. The rest of the flood water is still on Earth, visible in our oceans, seas, rivers, and lakes, and glaciers, and ice, and snow. The Kola borehole is now closed, but they still have an official website. The official website for Kola Ultra-Deep today says, in Russian, translated to English, "We pretty much knew and understood at once how little we still know about the structure of the planet." These people actually drilled the deepest that anyone has ever drilled on the planet. They have the observations, the scientific data to show how the Earth's crust is actually made. And they say that we know little about the structure of the planet. So when you see a diagram like this, ask the question, how do they know that? The Kola borehole remains unsurpassed at 12 kilometers. They had planned on digging to 15 kilometers, but they could never get past 12 kilometers, even after years of trying before they gave up.
Никаких чудовищных голосов, якобы томящихся под землей. Люди, с которыми мы встретились этой весной, свой предпоследний визит на буровую.
The troposphere is the layer of the Earth's atmosphere where we live. It reaches an average altitude of 12 kilometers high. It's interesting that the deepest hole ever drilled by man is 12 kilometers deep. There's a pattern of 12s, and there's many more 12s all around us. Please see the video titled Pattern of 12 for an explanation. Another pattern of 12s observed at the Kola Ultra-Deep, when they drilled down to 7 kilometers deep, the temperature was measured to be 120 degrees Celsius. 7 is a holy number. At the depth of 7 kilometers, we have 120 degree temperatures. Is this a coincidence that our planet was designed to match a pattern of 12s? Another unexpected discovery made at Kola Ultra-Deep. The Earth is made up of layers. It's not a scrambled up mess underground. There are distinct layers of different kinds of rock. To me, it's clear that this Earth was designed. There is a designer for Earth. In 1984, there was a press conference with geologists. One question raised was, What is the most important thing shown at the Kola borehole? The response, Lord, most importantly, it showed that we do not know anything about the continental crust. So how do we know what is inside the Earth? If we don't even know what's in the continental crust, then how can we possibly know what's under the crust? I will remain humble and admit that I don't know what is inside the Earth. I will also remain skeptical of any picture showing the interior of the Earth all the way down to the core, with no scientific evidence to back it up. It's easy to make a picture. It's a lot harder to explain the science. When you see pictures like these, you should ask the question, if you are a true scientist, how do they know that? And why was the Soviet drilling program a secret? The deepest they were able to drill, 12 kilometers. The Kola project reached a depth of 12 kilometers in 1983. 7 years later, they were still stuck at 12 kilometers. It seemed as if the Earth does not want to reveal its secrets.
But two more little objects. And, you know, I've been seeing this now, and now I've been watching YouTube, which I never used to watch, but now I'm watching it closely because I am interested in the theory that a planet-like system comes through our system every so often. I mean, it's a pretty wild theory, but when it comes to us having cataclysms on a cyclical basis, it sure makes sense that depending on where every object in our solar system and then the visiting solar system are, depending on where each object is at that point in time, that will determine what happens on the planet Earth. So there are times when this system maybe comes through cyclically and does nothing, because all the planets, moons, and everything are in such a position that nothing affects anything. Then there's other times where it comes through, and what happens is they are in such a way that when they arrive, causes cataclysms and wreaks havoc on our planet and maybe other planets in our solar system too. And if you look at the asteroid belt, many theorists, many scientists believe that that was a planet at one time that was hit by either another planet or another moon of a planet and destroyed and caused the asteroid belt. Well, that sure sounds like a good theory if you have this system coming through on a cyclical basis. And just looking at this picture with the sun, this object, and then these two objects, it sure makes you wonder.
Hey, amigo, you call that an asteroid? I can see that was cut out by a tree or what? You cut out a piece of the moon, you tell me is an asteroid Vesta? You lying, you bastardo! You lying! You definitely got something there from outer space. But it certainly ain't an asteroid. Muchacho, even the most stupid could see that you cut that out with a pair of scissors, man.
Okay, hi and hello from Aerospace. Sorry, I'm having, as you might have realized in the last video, troubles with my recording equipment. That is asteroid Vesta. It certainly is a cardboard cutout, cut out by somebody's 3-year-old with a pair of scissors, the kind that you get in very, very junior school, you know, when you first go, play school and all that. It's a play school image, there's no doubt about it. Nothing looks like that in outer space, and those edges are definitely wrong. YU55 is definitely artificial and not what we're being told. NASA is lying. The White House, well, I'm afraid, are going to have to be burned to the ground or put up against the wall and shot. Yes, I mean shot. Yes, I mean the White House. Yes, I mean all politicians and anybody who's in denial about UFOs. I have 15 years of experience. To wit, I'm in constant contact with the UFOs and aliens or whatever they are in their little spaceships and no shit. And that is a cardboard cutout. You're being told caca.
After World War II ended in 1945, victorious Russian and American intelligence teams began a treasure hunt throughout occupied Germany for military and scientific booty. They were looking for things like new rocket and aircraft designs, medicines, and electronics. But they were also hunting down the most precious spoils of all, the scientists whose work had nearly won the war for Germany. The engineers and intelligence officers of the Nazi war machine. The U.S. military rounded up Nazi scientists and brought them to America. It had originally intended merely to debrief them and send them back to Germany. But when it realized the extent of the scientists' knowledge and expertise, the War Department decided it would be a waste to send the scientists home. Following the discovery of flying discs, particle/laser beam weaponry in German military bases, the War Department decided that NASA and the CIA must control this technology, and the Nazi engineers that had worked on this technology. There was only one problem: it was illegal. U.S. law explicitly prohibited Nazi officials from immigrating to America, and as many as 3/4 of the scientists in question had been committed Nazis. President Harry Truman agreed in September 1946 to authorize Project Paperclip, a program to bring selected German scientists to work on America's behalf. The scientists' dossiers were rewritten to eliminate incriminating evidence.
Implantable human chips. Supporters hail the technology as a medical marvel, but critics warn that the potential risks are real.
Well, they talked about, for example, electrical hazards. This thing is by no means inert. The way it works is it actually picks up and amplifies ambient electromagnetic energy from the reader devices. And if you have one of these things in your arm and you get within range of a powerful electromagnetic field, it can actually burn you.
Oh, and by the way, it can kill you if you get out of line. A closer look at the who and the why behind this idea.
All right, this next story may sound like something out of, well, a Hollywood thriller. A Saudi inventor has created a killer microchip. It's designed to track terrorists and criminals and, well, you can think of somebody. Not only does it include a GPS device, it also has a lethal dose of cyanide, which can be activated at any time. You get my point? The inventor's bid for a patent has been rejected in Germany. Joining us now this morning to talk about it, Jake Ward, deputy editor of Popular Science. Okay, this is pretty macabre, pretty sinister and nefarious. How exactly would this work?
To create a prison planet and hell on earth. Well, if you've not yet had the chance to listen to the other two talks and articles on Mundi, then let me apologize to you. You see, I realize that when you hear and read words like prison planet, it probably stirs up and images of listening or reading to the posts of one of the best funded disinfo projects of the past 15 years, all designed to keep people distracted, confused and fearful. And for others, I realise that when you hear phrases about a deliberate, systematic and comprehensive plan more than 450 years ago called Mundi to create hell on earth, it may well sound like the worst kind of conspiracy nutjobs. Certainly, if people refuse to think, and if people choose to live their days with the same attention span as a goldfish, well, this might at first appear to be true. But I assure you, this is not a conspiracy. It is the illusion we call reality in which we live. An illusion brilliantly crafted to the finest detail, so that people who live in the most fertile of lands believe that without a job they'll starve to death, and that people who have more potential, access to knowledge than any generation in history are constantly distracted by instant messaging, emails, phone calls and Twitter noise, that they are lucky if they Google anything deeper than the weather or their favourite celebrities. And a world where people are so addicted to owning more things and more useless, mass-manufactured crap that they care less about the rich getting richer than being one of the rich.
Topic, my friend. Mars once could have supported life. For veterans of the channel, this isn't really new, along with things like how they've found ice at the poles of Mercury even, so there's likely liquid near the perimeter interface regions around it. I'll add this to the links anyway, but speaking of Mars, first whole trip radiation levels have been plotted and it's not terrifically encouraging, although not the worst case either. Fact is, solar storms affect life on Mars' surface much more than they do here. The ambient levels are hundreds of times that of Earth. Doesn't even include the trip to the red planet. This will be tricky. Since we're finding stories relating to my series videos today, let's include Agenda 21. Folks, not every sliver of human input into Agenda 21 is evil. The notion that we should be more efficient is not evil or stupid or ill-advised, but under the guise of sustainability, it projects strength onto that purported system to be, and gives the implementation arms a boost as well. If you haven't seen the U.S. Federal Sustainability Plan, go ahead and give that one a read.
1. Climate change is happening. 2. The risks are highly damaging. And 3. The sooner we act, the better.
This new report shows that as public concern about extreme weather ramps up,
across Reuters, all the mainstream news services, again, definitely confirmed, a large island has risen out of the sea. Now, no video of this is appearing for some reason. They've completely suppressed this. Multiple videos out of India, out of Pakistan, and their local news showing the event, and we are being blocked from seeing it. This is a profound event, guys. This is something that never happens. We're talking something has risen out of the sea that is quite possibly hundreds of feet tall and risen hundreds of feet out of the ocean. So we're talking about a big-time amount of movement that we've never seen before. This is unheard of, okay? Don't let anybody minimalize this for you. You guys, please, if you're skeptical on this or you think that this is no big deal, you need to reassess your opinion on this. This is the first time I can find in history that a giant island has risen out of the sea instantly as a result of a 7.0 earthquake. Okay, normally you would think a 9.0, a 9.9 would be doing this kind of movement, but this is just off a 7.0.
Stuff is looking at objects in space and nothing's probably going to hit us. It's just the idea of what will Earth hit as it flies through space at more than 66,000 miles an hour. And we might be going faster than that right now.
For example, this proto-Bible described the reason the Fertile Crescent dried up into a desert as due to a nuclear war between the pantheon that occurred in the region at the end of the Sumero-Akkadian Empire and the beginning of unified Babylon. This work describes aeons of prehistory in much more vivid detail than the Babylonian Kings List's simplified format. According to the Sumerian Bible, the so-called Book of Enki, the priest kings of the prehistoric Neolithic settlements were actually extraterrestrial biological entities from a distant brown dwarf sister star to our own sun. They lived on a planet the Sumerians called Nibiru, but by the time of the writing of the Babylonian version of Genesis, the Enuma Elish, the name Nibiru was replaced by the empire's patron deity's name, Marduk. According to the Sumerian Bible of Enki, there were a long line of kings who reigned on the planet Nibiru prior to their discovery of life on our planet, Earth. Finally, it was King Anu, in pursuit of the criminal Alalu, who landed here and saw the potential for interplanetary cultivation by his alien species. Beginning from the earliest carvings in the late Paleolithic, such as the heart-shaped lovers of Ain Akri and the Ain Ghazal double-headed dolls, we see the motif of the crossbreeding between early hominids and alien gods being portrayed according to the Sumerian interpretation. The earliest Sumerian artifacts show these EBEs in vivid detail. They portray them as the prototypical male and female precursor of Adam and Eve from Genesis. The male has an elongated skull and enlarged, empty, black, almond-shaped eyes. The female has reptilian facial features and nurses a child almost resembling a humanoid dinosaur. The Sumerian Book of Enki tells of how the children of King Anu, Prince Enki, Prince Enlil, and Princess Ninlil, came to Earth and cultivated the early hominid species into the form of the Natufian Neolithic culture. It calls this royal family the Anunnaki, meaning the Watchers, the original pantheon of Sumer. Those offspring of this royal lineage that were born not on Nibiru but on Earth were called the Nephilim. While the facial features and bone structure of the original Anunnaki from Nibiru appear entirely alien, the Nephilim appear as giant humanoids with elongated skulls. It is from the era of rulership by the Anunnaki we credit the discovery of agriculture and art. However, it is from the era of reign by the Nephilim that we trace the origins of writing and the arts. The myths describing the origins of agriculture and animal domestication as gifts from the gods date to the era of the Nephilim rulers, the aliens who were born on Earth. Thus, it is from among the Nephilim generations we find 5 of the 8 pre-diluvial rulers from the Babylonian Kings List, following in generations from the original 3 Anunnaki who ruled Earth. These 3 original gods established their kingdoms in 3 regions. To Enlil, the eldest, went the realm of the Tigris and Euphrates River. To Enki, the younger prince, went the realm of the Egyptian Nile River. To Ninlil, the princess and goddess, went the realm of the Indus and Ganges rivers in the Orient. Of course, by the time of the drying out into a desert of the Fertile Crescent, following the great flood of the Mesopotamian region, the 3 great civilizations had long since developed their own unique cultures, class structures, and metaphysics. By the time the terrestrial Nephilim ruled these regions, Inanna, the granddaughter of Ninlil, ruled the Vedic Aryans, the later Indo-Europeans, in the Orient. Ningish Zidda, the elder son of Enki, ruled Egypt, and the Babylonian patron deity, the younger son of Enki, Marduk, was the god over the culture of Babylon. It was Marduk who would later become Ashur, and in modern times is called Ahura Mazda, the father of Zoroaster and the god of Zoroastrianism. It was said that, following the nuclear war between the Nephilim that left the Fertile Crescent a desert, when Marduk killed Inanna, whose name in Vedic was Kali, Ningishzida, whose name in Egyptian was Thoth, fled to the lands we call today South America.
Were genetically modified by space aliens. These aliens first landed where the river Euphrates enters the Persian Gulf. The reason is that in that area a high concentration of what is called monatomic gold is found in the seawater, while nowadays the highest concentration is found on the islands of Hawaii. The aliens were members of the Anunnaki Empire and were on a quest to find this metal that is supposed to enhance and repair all bodily functions and stop the body from aging. Monatomic gold is what is called a superconductive metal. Superconductivity means that if you transport, for example, electricity through a line made of this material, you would not lose any energy as a result of heat dissipation. So if you input 100% of energy, you also output 100% of energy. Now apply this principle to your brain, which is a huge sensitive electrical machine. The monatomic gold makes your neural pathways act like quantum drive superhighways. This means that all your senses will receive input optimally. In turn, these inputs will be processed optimally, and those parts of your brain you don't use will become more active, so enhancing your memory, making you better understand problems, allowing you to sense evil, detecting lies, becoming telepathic, and even being able to time travel in your mind by seeing the past or the future.
The Anunnaki control matter with their minds. They can create life out of raw matter using only their minds. And if they need work done, they manipulate life forms to do the work, not machines. The Anunnaki thrive on slavery. Mankind is nothing more than a domesticated tool to the Anunnaki. They use their solar system Nibiru to travel throughout the universe and have been doing so for billions of years. Earth is being turned into a system to replace Nibiru. When Earth is completely operational and when the Illuminati has carried out a decimation of the masses, the last prophecy will be fulfilled. The Illuminati will be relocated to Nibiru, a dying hell-type planet. And the meek Anunnaki will inherit the Earth.
Now, of course, it's getting bigger as it moves closer to the Earth. Next, we have a diagram of the relative sizes of Jupiter, Earth, Moon, Nibiru, and the Sun in that alignment. And then there's a shot of yesterday taken from the balcony here, where it is again directly in front of the Sun. Gabriel has been seen in Hungary, and the object reflecting off the sea.
What looked like to me from my eyes was three suns above the sun to the left a bit. Here you can see three spheres. One sphere is right by that pine tree, the tip of that pine tree. The other one is higher up in the purple beam of the sun, and there's another one below it, making a triangle formation. My camera's not the best, so it didn't pick up what I could see with my eyes. And what it looked like was three suns. Most likely they're not suns, but maybe planets or something. So there's there's one right above the sun in the purple beam, and then there's one above it to the left, and then there's one that's just creeping behind that pine tree. And if you've noticed that they're slowly creeping to the left, grouped together, that one and just going right behind that pine tree, and then the other two are following it, keeping the triangle formation. So it was kind of cool to catch this stuff. It looked really awesome. It looked like 3 bright suns above our sun. And then when it's backed out, you kind of see a little bit.
The governments of your world are playing a game of quid pro and quid pro quo. Latin, what for what? We have given them every opportunity to step down peaceably and offer their assistance in the implementation of your new system. They have refused time and again to cooperate, and now it is time for them to be removed in any way possible to clear the path for your further development and your new governmental and financial systems. Please allow us the opportunity to assist you to remove these stubborn individuals and institute worldwide governmental regime change that will once and for all end this dark period in your planet's history. So much waits on the removal of those sworn to the old system of corruption and chaos, and we need to get underway with the fast sweeping changes of your world, as time is running very short and there is so much work yet to be done to secure your paths to ascension. What we propose is a sweep of governmental offices from top to bottom, from bottom to top, and remove each and every individual from their position, either elected or appointed, who are aligned with the forces of darkness, otherwise known as the Cabal. We see this as a means to an end, and this must be accomplished within a suitable time frame so we can begin to implement the many other changes that are necessary. As many changes to your civilization are just up ahead, and many of you have no idea the impact these changes will have on your society and your planet. We are here in your skies and have traveled here from great distances to assist you in what will be your time of need. There is no reason to be frightened. Together we can suitably handle these changes and allow you to safely move forward into your futures. Many of your government officials would rather see you suffer than to step down from their positions of power, so we see no other alternative than to remove them forcibly. This can and will be done without a need for violence on any level, but it is up to those of your governments being removed how they wish to proceed. These men and women need to understand that they will face harsher penalties for their actions by refusing to step down from their positions. Their jobs are, and have always been, in service to the citizenry, and they were called upon to act always in a manner that would be best for the welfare of the people. Instead, everything they have done worked against the people, to strip them of their money, their health, their rights and their freedom. This will now end, and we offer our assistance to our Earth allies who must now move forward and remove these individuals from their offices and take them into custody. This must be done in the name of the people, and it must be done in the name of your new world. It was known all along that these individuals could not keep their positions of power within your governments, as there is no place for corruption and dishonesty, selfishness and greed in your new world, especially through the ranks of your governmental bodies. How these individuals were to vacate their positions has always been a matter of choice, and it is their choice now. They have stubbornly refused all offers to make this as easy a transition as possible for them, and they are now out of time and out of bargaining power. The next time they hear from us on our Earth, allies will be when we are knocking on their door to take them away and into custody. This is the way it must be, as this is the way they have chosen it to be. We wish very much for this process to proceed differently, in a way that would be a smooth transition for them and also a smooth transition for the citizens of your countries. Instead, it will be a rockier transition, but nonetheless the end result will be what we, your Earth allies, and the awakened people of your world want and understand is necessary for the betterment of all of you and your society as a whole. We will now move ahead with this phase of the operation and begin the takedown of those seated within your governments, who are aligned with the powers of the dark and who are corrupt through to the bone. They will be replaced by those souls of honor and integrity, balance and foresight, and who possess within them an honor of duty. These men and women are highly trained at the positions they will fill, and they are, or will be, sworn to uphold the law of light, of freedom and the sanctity of the human soul and spirit, and if anyone who takes office fails to maintain this focus, they too shall be removed. We have much confidence in these men and women who will be stepping in to these leadership roles, and you may be very confident in them as well. Many of these individuals have waited in the wings for their time to shine, and that time has now come. We will converse with our Earth allies and set up a suitable removal process of those still aligned with the dark, and we will move forward with this operation as soon as is possible, as time is of the essence. We wish for all our light workers in the field to again be pillars of strength and a fountain of information for those who will thirst through misunderstanding, fear and confusion at what they will be witnessing. Try to keep in mind that for those who yet have no idea of what is transpiring around them, the removal from office of so many of those they have come to trust can be quite a shock, and we wish you all who know and understand what lies at the heart of these events to be there for your brothers and sisters and offer your guidance and your knowledge to help better ease them through these transitions. We cannot thank those of you in the field enough for the work you have been doing. Nothing you do goes unnoticed by us, and we are deeply grateful for everything that you have been doing in the name of progress for this world. We understand many of you are growing impatient, waiting to see the changes long discussed, but we tell you they are just up ahead, and once they begin they will not slow or stop, and you will never have cause to wait impatiently again. Try to see and understand that what has been transpiring behind the scenes has been extremely complex and at times very dangerous for those of the light, and it was necessary that we, as well as your Earth allies, proceed as slowly and as cautiously as possible to protect our mission as well as to protect lives. No time has been squandered away through inactivity. Instead, we and our Earth allies have been working continuously, pressing forward in our mission and gaining ground each and every day. In due time, when we are able to speak freely with you, we will explain everything that we have been doing unbeknownst to you, and at that time we are very confident you will see that there was great cause for you to remain as patient as possible. As we have said, this part of your mission will be over shortly, and the next phase of operation will see you fully abreast of each and every development, and there will be no longer any need for secrecy. This will come as a relief to many of you who at this time have only a few sources of information, and we were not able to reveal everything through our channels. This is changing as we are now able to share more with you, and in the days ahead there will be nothing that we cannot openly discuss with you. Look for the changes in your governments to coincide with the mass arrests of those of your criminal cabal, their underlings, and many of their associates. Many of these individuals are associated through their illegal and underhanded dealings, and as such will be removed from your society, whether they are elected government officials or not. Those who hold positions within your governments have never been and are not today entitled to any kind of special treatment or protection from your laws, which they have broken time and again. They will be arrested and charged just as any criminal would in your society and held to face the charges against them. While these proceedings move forward, your new governments will take shape through those who have shown themselves worthy and who have earned the trust of us as well as our Earth allies. You will be meeting these men and women in the days ahead, and we wish for their welcoming to be warm, exciting, and full of expectation for what they will be bringing as a new and better way for all of you. Look for these changes to be rapid and look for them to be far sweeping as the corruption reaches through the many branches of your governments. Your new governing bodies will take root and grow strong and healthy, bearing fruit for the people of your world. Allow this process time to nurture and to grow, and again be patient as this is a very delicate process that must be handled with due care. What we are speaking of is not an easy process for any world. We have handled many situations just as this before, and we will see to the successful conclusion of this operation as well. Bear with us at this time and show your support for us as well as our Earth allies. We know how long you have waited for this day, but we tell you this day has now come, and all your waiting and your hard work will be well worth all of it. Please continue to monitor your news outlets for these breaking news stories and share this information with all who wish to understand better this event. Again, we wish for this event to be the shot heard round the world that will awaken as many as possible as to how their world is changing all around them. Help them to see that these arrests are good news and nothing to be frightened of, and help them to see that there is a better way and a better world available to them. Help them to see these arrests are clearing the way, making it all possible, and a better world is what will stand when all the smoke clears. We are the Galactic Federation of Light, as channeled through Greg Giles.
Video from the latest NASA space shuttle mission appears to show what might be UFOs in space. A segment from the live NASA feed shows the cargo bay of the Space Shuttle Atlantis and what appears to be 3 flying objects directly above the shuttle. The objects are in motion in a triangular formation, how we often imagine UFOs might move. The narrator of the live feed tries to explain the objects away with a less than convincing story. Take a listen.
This is Mission Control Houston with Atlantis Commander Brent Jett talking with astronaut Terry Virts here in Mission Control about an object the crew members noted outside the windows of the Space Shuttle Atlantis. Jett describing it as some kind of reflective or metallic looking cloth, but definitely not a rigid or metal object.
Yeah, right. There just happen to be 3 identical pieces of massive metallic cloth moving around in a constant formation in space. So in one of the most convincing UFO videos yet, it appears more likely than ever that we might have company in our universe.
My sister lives in Zambia, Lusaka, Zambia, which is in southern part of Africa, and she has to rent a house, and it costs about the same as what if you rented a house would cost in Calgary, Canada. Okay, this doesn't make any sense. You know, the people in Lusaka, they don't make any money. There's very low income levels in Africa, but the rent is the same. You know, so that people have to live in mud huts. You know, but if they get a house, then yeah, the rent is the same. But it doesn't make any sense with the property values, things like that. The same thing is happening in China. Everything is kept out of reach of most people, unless they're part of like the Communist Party and getting all the money or whatever. Basically, everywhere is a prison. I mean, you look in your dollar store, everything's made in China. That's because there's millions of people in the labor camps working 16 hours a day for free. I mean, 7 days a week, 16 hours a day for nothing. And then they get their, if they're a Falun Gong practitioner, they get their livers chopped up. I mean, their body's chopped up and their liver's taken out and heart taken out and corneas taken out and whatever can be sold, they sell. And so they're not even working for free. They're having to pay with their lives to, they're losing everything. China is a big prison created by some government. Where is this government? I mean, you can say it's the Alps because we all supposedly owe Zurich $900 trillion. But then that doesn't really make sense either, because you look at the Alps, France has the highest number of nuclear reactors per capita in the whole world. I mean, if one nuclear... They say that Japan, the Fukushima reactor, if that hadn't been cooled down fast enough, like if they had been slower at cooling it down, it would have blown up northern Japan. It would have just, boom, gone. Northern Japan gone. And if that would have happened, we would all be like seriously in radiation poisoning, if not dead. You just think about it, we have hundreds of nuclear reactors. Anyways, I'm not going to go on that. I'm just talking about where is our government? Who's running this show? I mean, it seems like the people who you can blame the most, like people are saying, oh yeah, China's, everything's sold in China. No, they're in a prison. They're absolutely, completely in a prison, to a high security prison, maximum security prison. The government is not Chinese. There's so much evidence for that. Why would they impose a one-child policy? Why would they sell organs to foreigners but not to their own people? See, there's so many. There's no way the Communist Party of China, which is the government of China right now, is Chinese, run by Chinese. There's no possible way, because there's so much evidence that it's not like that. Anyways, I'm just saying, where is the government? Are they on Mars? Like, seriously, they could be. They could be on the moon. Like I said, there was one guy here in Calgary, he seemed to really know what was going on and everything. I was working at a golf course, and he was the manager there. And the golf course is like, they have an underground base there and stuff, because on a rainy day...
Oh my God. I can't believe this. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
¿Qué te serio? ¿Qué sale de ahí? Ay. ¿Qué te serio? ¿Qué sale de ahí? Ay.
¡Ey! Vengan a ver esto, boludo, ey. Vengan a ver, boludo, mirá lo que hice, ah. ¿Qué es lo que hizo, ey? Mirá, boludo, mirá, boludo, se está preparando. Se está preparando, boludo, se está preparando, mirá, ey. Vení. Pasito nomás, pasito. Mirá, boludo, ¿qué es lo que hizo, ey? El Luisón, ese es el Luisón. Ese es el Luisón. ¿Qué es lo que hizo, ey? Mirá, boludo, mirá, porque va a venir, aquí. Se paró. Ay, aquí. Ey, vengan, traigan Coti. Vamos a traer Coti, ey. Vamos nomás acá, vamos. Vamos. Ey, vengan a ver esto, boludo, ey. Vengan a ver, boludo, mirá lo que hice, ah. ¿Qué es lo que hizo, ey? Mirá, boludo, mirá, boludo, se está preparando, boludo, se está preparando, mirá, ey. Vení, pasito nomás, pasito. Mirá, boludo, ¿qué es lo que hizo, ey? El Luisón, ese es el Luisón. ¿Qué es lo que hizo, ey? Mirá, boludo, mirá, porque va a venir, aquí. Se paró. Ay, aquí. Ey, vengan, traigan Coti. Vamos a traer Coti, ey. Vamos nomás acá, vamos.
About to see is a video from 1983 that happened to catch an unforgettable, shocking event. Let's take another look.
Maybe some of you have heard the word about the Japanese volcano that's blowing its top. Maybe you think that aliens and UFOs are completely absurd, but Indonesia is experiencing an 80-foot drop. What people can't see, they have a tendency to doubt. We were warned long ago, and some put the word out. Told everyone they knew about the object coming in. There are even rumors floating that the Earth has a twin. If government doesn't warn you of the dangers, that's obscene. We're having more earthquakes and volcanoes than you've ever seen. The USGS changed the Richter scale to help them cover for the lies. But have you noticed that the number of eruptions is on the rise? Astronomers are no longer allowed to tell the world what they've found. They have to report it to government for approval to say. If the Earth has a wobble or is making a strange sound, you're more likely to hear it from a Nancy Leader Zeta Gray. They have been talking about a pole shift, and what's west will soon be north, and the people want to know what's going to happen henceforth. The Grays were correct on past predictions time and time again. When asked where we're at on the pole shift, they say we're 7 out of 10. Yikes, salt water in the streets of Jakarta is knee-deep. The truth is being withheld from the masses of sheep. Government says it's flooding, but it seems the land is sinking. They tell the people lies without blinking, winking, or shrinking.
From our fancy telescopes, that just in the last 2 years, more than 20 planets have been identified outside our solar system that seem to be far enough away from their suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone.
Britain takes another step into the age of atomic power. This place houses the largest nuclear power reactor operated by the Atomic Energy Authority. And there to officially put the plant into operation was Prince Philip. The power station will add a mighty 100-megawatt boost to the national electricity grid. Prince Philip showed a keen interest in the equipment, which is a steam-generating heavy water reactor. Overseas interest in the machinery is considerable. It is super efficient and relatively cheap to operate. The Dorset station cost £16 million and took less than 5 years to complete. Now that it's operating at full capacity, the units of electricity are crackling out at a very rapid rate. So, Britain has another brand new, home-developed atomic power station that
Yes. As we discussed briefly in a previous question, this situation is serious indeed. A combined report from experts at the United Nations, CARE International, and the US-based Earth Institute forecast that more than 14 million farmers would lose their rice fields if sea levels rise by 2 meters. Already, the growers are seeing saltwater contamination in some crops along with the excessive flooding that ruins harvest. Scientists say that the floods are due to upstream melting glaciers, which cause the rice to be inundated at times when it needs to be dry. Moreover, as the glaciers continue to melt, the Great Mekong River will begin to dry because there's no more support of flowing water, meaning further hardship for farmers as water becomes more scarce. As it currently supports 18 hydropower stations as well. The drying of the Mekong River would also have adverse effects on power supplies, and the drought combined with sea level rise would cause further salt water contamination. The government has instituted programs to relocate people whose homes and growing areas are most vulnerable to these effects. But this does not really address their livelihoods or how to save the crops. Research indicates that a 1 meter sea level rise could result in up to 2 million hectares of land in the Mekong Delta being submerged. Depending on how quickly global warming accelerates, this could happen in a matter of years. As for how to best help the farmers in the Delta region to cope with this urgent problem, I also wonder myself. It concerns me deeply to see the effects of global warming on this region. Dr. Carl mentioned scientists developing a salt-bearing plant. Perhaps we can. Perhaps not. Even if we can, imagine. You see, some researchers have suggested building additional levees to hold back the floodwaters. Both of these ideas could probably work over the short term and would help for a little while, but not for long term.
Good morning, folks. My interview with the Thunderbolts went live on YouTube. We discuss a number of topics from earthquake causation to the climate. It's a quick catch-up for new viewers and a solid review, as always, for everyone else, linked for you below. Earthquakes of note. You gotta be kidding me, Carolina. Greece also ticked back over the 5.0 mark, but with less foreshocking this time. You are looking at satellite images of Indonesia. Yesterday we reported it was a worse situation than Sinabung and Merapi, and today we're seeing the uppercut she gave to the atmosphere. Particulates appear headed out to sea. Quick look at surface ice cover shows Arctic dipping beneath that 2 standard deviations mark from the average. Long-term story is the baffling ice retreat up north, while the surface ice down south seems to break high ice records almost monthly. So why is it so difficult to forecast South America? There's a constant stream of moisture delivered over the continent from both the north and southern hemispheres. In addition to that macro-level convergence, the vapor is cupped by the Andes and swirls around until it feels like dropping or getting caught in the convergence extending north from a racing south polar low. Shifting down under where a few heat warnings are almost the top watch. Rain should be lighter today, but with a chance for 1 or 2 more serious but isolated events. Look at the system that crossed Europe the last day. Storm surges killed a man in the channel. Flooding is stranding civilians. The wind is picking up small...
Big mystery on their hands. A giant spiral of light that suddenly appeared over northern Norway. The winding image could be seen for hundreds of miles, fueling speculation that it was anything from alien invaders to a new phenomenon. Alex Marquardt reports from Moscow.
Norwegians were treated to a spectacular light show early Wednesday morning that immediately set tongues wagging, everyone asking what created that giant blue pinwheel in the sky. Speculation has settled firmly on a failed Russian rocket test. Russia's defense ministry has refused to comment, but military sources are telling leading Russian newspapers that there was a test of a Russian Bulava intercontinental ballistic missile that failed yesterday. It had previously been announced that there would be tests of the Bulava in the region between December 7th and 14th, and specifically from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, according to one Russian newspaper. But for now, that's simply the leading theory behind the mysterious blue lights. Alex Marquardt, ABC News, Moscow.
What's up, guys? Have you
any of you guys heard about this? Apparently, there's been a rash of UFO sightings on the West Coast, and now these strange metallic boxes are showing up on the shores of the West Coast. It says UFO-inspired metal boxes still vex experts, while someone is taking the boxes away. I just want to know if any of you guys have heard about this. I found out about it yesterday or the day before. But yeah, you can check out this article on Hulik. Apparently the boxes
going really, really slow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, where'd it go? It's still over there. Okay, I'm in the right spot. There it is. I got it. I got it. August 21st. He's gone. I can't get him. He's gone behind.
There it is. I got it. I got it. August 21st.
About 15 minutes ago, we had lightning strike our house. Scared us a bit. We started shaking all over. The house across the street here, let me zoom in. Volunteer firemen are now here and everything else. We don't know what happened. I want to show you the sky. You see what we have? We don't have anything that indicates, you know, thunderstorms or anything like that. We've had some thunder out here, and this is what it looked like. We were sitting there in the living room and lightning struck our house out back. I just want to see what's going on here. We got the fire trucks, you can see that. There's smoke coming out of their house. Lightning struck their house. So about the time ours got hit, theirs got struck. Oh goodness, I hope nobody's hurt. Hold on guys, I'm gonna walk out here to the driveway so I can get a closer shot and pray I don't get struck by lightning. But it hit this house so hard, it shook the windows and we could see big flashes of pink and red. Yeah, they're standing outside, their house is on fire. That's the ones that live there. Oh my God. Trying to get this without, you can see the sun's out. You see these kind of clouds? This is not normal to have that kind of lightning we just had. This was striking lightning. It struck our house exactly 6:30. And then all of a sudden, their house is on fire. There's smoke coming out of it, but I can't see it. And the sun's in my way. Now you hear this? Check it out. You see these blue skies? And whatever, you see this? And we got thunder. And I shouldn't be out here. Alright. I'll come back to you in just a few minutes. Take care. This is August 21st, 2013. I'm back out here in reference to the first video I took. It's 7:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Central Georgia. In the first video I showed you the firemen, volunteer firemen and stuff coming in. This was at 6:45. They've been there for 25 minutes now. Of course, the power's been shut off. This is what happened. Our house was struck by lightning. And I'm going to show you. This is in a lot of my videos. This is our transformer. It runs this main wire here. Goes all the way out to the street to this other one out here. And it connects to their house. Well, what happened was when we got struck by lightning, it did a split like a fork. It hit the transformer or something. It shook our house so bad. I mean, it was just awful. I can't explain it. We saw pink and red flashes of light, and then all of a sudden a big white ball of light right out the back living room window. And then 15 minutes later, they showed up over here. Went out there and talked to them. They didn't want to be on video. I can respect that. Their attic caught on fire. It was struck by lightning. Her husband pretty much put the fire out. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. They have the power company out here now. He pretty much had the fire put out, but everything was smoked up so bad. You can see it's clearing off now because they're using fans. Anyway, they're okay, and I'm grateful for that. I thank God they're okay. But this is in response to the lightning strike, and I want to show you something. Do you see our sky? Okay. Do you see anything that looks like a severe thunderstorm? These are the kind of clouds that we had. This is it. And we had a whole bunch of thunder. I mean, sporadic. It was just all over the place. And then all of a sudden, this weird lightning strike hits our house, hits theirs, ricocheted off ours through the lines, and caught theirs on fire. But anyway, just as a reminder that strange things are happening, folks. This is not your normal, lifetime living anymore. I'm still shaking. I fizzed up worse than a cat when that stuff struck. I mean, it was just feet away from us. We both sat there and screamed like little, I don't know what. My cat took off running. She's still hiding. And like I said, everything in the house shook. It was like two big loud booms, and all of a sudden, just, it was just crazy. But just a reminder for you, just because you have a clear sky with little sporadic clouds like this, you need to be on the lookout. We have a metal roof, and I think that's what protected us. Had it not been for that, I believe we would have been caught on fire too, and this house would have went up in a smoke, in a blaze, because it's an old house. But like I said, I'm grateful everybody across the street is okay. They're not going to be able to stay there for a while, of course. And take care. And if you don't mind, please read the description box, because I'm going to fill in the description box as to everything that happened from start to finish. And like I said, I'm going to show you one more time. This is the clouds we had with thunder and then lightning. We have never seen lightning like this before, or heard it so loud and shook the foundation of this house. So take care. And be safe out there, people. God bless. Poor ding dong. Going really, really slow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd it go? It's still over there. Okay. I'm in the right spot. There it is. I got it. I got it. August 21st. He's gone. I can't get him. He's gone behind.
I can get a legal one now, too. I want to thank you guys for coming out, man. Listen, this is our only goal for the night. This night is about you. It's not about us. We are the house band for your good time tonight. You guys came here. You wanted to spend your time with us. We want to spend it with you. We want to play you as many songs as we possibly can. We just want to all feel like we left here and we celebrated life together tonight. All of us in this place. So thank you guys so much for coming to celebrate life with us.